Hello, and thank you for joining us on another Talk Mompreneurs. I today have pleasure and the honor to speak to one of the moms that I really look up to, mom inventors, mompreneur, Felicia Jackson. I am going to turn it over to her to let you know who she is and what she does. Felicia, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me today. Thank you. Let me introduce myself. I'm Felicia Jackson. I am the inventor and founder of CPR Wrap, which is a all-in-one CPR template that empowers anyone to save a life. I am a mother of 3 adult children now and a grandmother of 2 amazing grandsons, 6 years old and 2 years old. So my life is an entrepreneur on one stage, a mother, grandmother, and wife all rolled into one, and really enjoying this journey on how to build this company, actually.
Right. Felicia, I want to give a brief description on how we met. I remember coming in contact with you. You had placed a post in one of these big groups that I'm in, TSP, and you were talking about your experience as a Black woman founder. And you talked about how you someone told you that you would have gotten more traction in your business if you had a white or Caucasian woman as the face of your brand. And that conversation really spoke to me because obviously I'm a Black woman as well. But I was just thinking about how hard it is sometimes to even put yourself out there, right? As a founder. And if you're an introvert, I've listened to some of your podcasts and I hear that you're an introvert. So for you to not only start this business, but every day having to show up for yourself and the brand, I want you to really talk to us about what that was like for you and what was the point where you were like, you know what? They can say what they want to say. This is my brand. I'm going to make this happen.
Right. So, it's crazy to see the growth, of Elite today as compared to a few years back, when I was encountering, the naysayers and the people that probably thought that they were giving great advice at the time. And just, the things that I wish I would have said then, because it was hard. Because when they say stuff like that, it's amazing. At first you're shocked they even said it. And for me, having that community where I did post it, I needed that because, working a 9 to 5, then inventing this product and not having the initial community, not saying outside of, Chattanooga, being in incubators and places like that, because those people were there. But I'm out within my own family, people that never started a company, they've never experienced this stuff. So I couldn't really go to them and let them know what I'm going, things that I'm hearing and, and things that people were saying to me. So it was very hard. It was very hard. So having that community where I met you, I was able to post that and was amazed when I did post it as well in another platform, how many people actually, did it. They actually took the face off of their brand and made it into a minority so they could get sales. And it was like, yeah, I mean, we had to, we were dying. So when they took themselves out, sales went up and it's like, I couldn't do that. I'm not going to compromise, what I built or what I'm building in myself. My children are watching me. My grandchildren are watching me, through this journey. So if I fail, I'm going to fail, doing what I love and what I truly believe in. So I chose not to change my brand into, a Caucasian or all white or whatever, he was telling me to do. So, kudos to me on that. The climb is still hard, but I couldn't.
Felicia, as you're talking, you're not only speaking for yourself and you talked about your children, your grandchildren, you're also speaking to the next woman, the next mom that's saying, you know what, I would do this, but I don't think I'm able because of my background and, the things that I've been through in my life or whatever it is that's telling them, no, you're not qualified. You've given her the opportunity to say yes because you said yes. And so thank you so much for that because you don't even know right now the impact of that decision and the story that comes along with it. Because I feel like I told you this before that your product is amazing, right? But without the story, it's like, okay, if the story complements the product. So it's not only important that you're saving lives through this CPR wrap, but you're telling a story that so many moms, so many people can relate to. And I want to share with you because I remember when I was a teenager, I used to do these summer camp programs. And of course, dealing with children, you would have to do the CPR class training, right? Felicia, let me tell you something. When I was doing these classes, I was doing it because I had to do it. But to be honest with you, I didn't really grasp it. I didn't really understand what I was doing. And I always said to myself, if I was ever in a situation where I had to perform CPR, I don't know if I would be successful. So when you talked about, when I saw your invention, I was like, man, this is what they need to have in these summer camps programs because you're teaching these children how to do these things, but you're not understanding that there's a panic that comes along with it. And so everything, you're a professional in doing it. To tell an average teenager to do this who hasn't done it on a regular regular basis and who needs to perform it. But this tool, this CPR Wrap, is something that is essential to have in every place where you having to do CPR because it's important to do it because you're dealing with people and children. But also these kids, they don't, how would I say it? When I was a young kid, when I was a teenager, I wasn't thinking about it all the time because it wasn't part of my daily activity. So I love it because, like I said, it's something that I could see myself using when I'm in a situation. I even have a few in the house. I purchased them and it's amazing. So thank you so much for inventing that. Thank you so much for telling your story. Thank you so much for deciding to show your face in your brand. And I want to talk to you about, you said something in one of your interviews that, no, actually it was your TED Talk. You said your purpose was guiding your actions. And so Mompreneur Talks is all about, in our business, of course, we go into business because we want to sell something. And of course, as we sell, we want to make profit. But I think that profit cannot be the driving factor. I think that you need to have something higher than just profit, because you can make profits and still feel like you're not doing something meaningful in your work. So when you said that, I was like, wow, this is exactly what I'm trying to say. It's not just about making money, but it's about having a purpose. Can you talk to us about what that purpose that was driving you?
Right. So, I don't know, many people know how I came about CPR Wrap and how it started. But, as a mom, a medical professional, mom is my full-time job, regardless of whatever else I do. And the safety of my children is first thing I think about. When I first get up in the morning, till I lay my head down at night. And that never goes away, no matter how old your children are. But I had an incident where my baby, he was 2 years old at the time, my only boy, youngest child, and he was choking in the back seat of our car when we were on a drive, my husband and our kids. And I worked in a hospital, CPR trained, certified. It was every year that time. And I knew my stuff. I knew what to do. Well, we got out of the car. My husband immediately gives my son to me, puts him in my arms so I can dislodge candy. The back blows and all that. Couldn't dislodge it. And he was drifting into unconsciousness. He was turning blue. And it was like, oh my God, I'm losing him. I'm losing him. My mind went completely blank. I could not remember any of my steps because during that time I should have started CPR. And my husband saw that I was panicking. And I'm pretty sure it was probably those seconds seemed like minutes, seemed like hours. I mean, it's like, I don't know what to do. No one's helping me. And my husband's, he's jumped in, he's military, and, he ended up saving our son. And I beat myself up over that. And it was like, what if my husband was not? What if? And, I had a dream. And it's like, I dream things all the time, but I never initiate. It's just a dream. I never take any of my dreams into account. This particular dream, I focused on what it was. It was a product. Somebody was getting CPR on the ground outside, and I focused on what was on top of that person. And I never remember my dreams hardly, but I woke up and I remembered that. And I immediately traced the image that I saw that was like really prevalent in my dream. And I just kept thinking about it. And so that was a sign right there. Okay, Felicia, your son needed CPR. You didn't do anything about it. Here you are trying to figure out what can you do to make sure that doesn't happen again to or anybody else for that matter. And, I just put it together. I mean, I didn't have any idea on patent. I didn't have any manufacturing, marketing, anything. I didn't even want to be an entrepreneur. Only thing I wanted to do was to make sure if my child was experiencing something like that again, or anybody that I came in contact with, I wouldn't have a brain freeze again. I would know what to do. And so, I went on the journey. And it was a purpose. I was driven. And it was like, I've got to get this done. I worked day in and day out. I don't even think I slept. People were amazed. It's like, Felicia, how are you doing this? How are you working, as I was a physical therapist assistant at the time? How are you working your 9 to 5, but it was 10 and 12-hour shifts? How are you working this, coming home, building this company? And it was like, I have to, because if I don't get this product out, somebody might not make it. And that was my driver.
I love it. I love that so, so much. And I feel like you're saying your purpose is what's driving you. It's like you see that what you went through, someone else could be going through or will be going through, and what will they do? And so I love the fact that you talk to your purpose driving you. And I know you mentioned something about your procrastination as well. You said you're a recovered procrastinator. And I don't know, for some reason, I'm not sure if other entrepreneurs can relate to that, but I think that I could identify with that procrastination. Talk to us about that. And I mean, I don't know, are you recovered? Are you really recovered? Or is it something that you acknowledge, but you still are able to overcome and accomplish the things that you have to accomplish?
I'm fully recovered. I am fully, but it's could be a procrastinator for many reasons, for fear. No one will understand what you're doing. You can procrastinate because you have so many things in the pot, being a mother, like I said, mother, wife, all of those take precedent, to whatever it is I'm dreaming at the moment. And it's like, especially if you're working a 9 to 5 and it's like, I got to take care of my family. Dare I dream? Dare I do things that I want to do? And so those things kind of took a back seat, so it was like a combination. But I always tell people, don't let fear be your driver. Don't let fear do this. But, back in the day, when I was a class 4 procrastinator, I didn't care. I didn't think. I didn't know. It was a growth fact, because now I'm getting emails and messages of parents that have experienced loss. If I would have had your product, what if I would have had this? My baby would be alive. My husband would be alive. And it was like, oh my gosh, they're coming at a time where, I had this product, I had the concept, but I was still working it out. I was out the issues that I was having with it. And, you take that to heart, you take it personally. And it's like, is it because I procrastinated? Because I didn't start this a couple of years before time, with this person have been alive, even though you shouldn't think like that, you start to think like that. And,
that I can understand what you mean by that too. When it comes to, and I'm not talking too much about your manufacturing stuff because I feel like you've grown so much, and I want to get to that part where we, talk about the other good stuff. But when you were creating or when you were developing your product, was there any time where you felt like, you know what, maybe someone else, maybe there's a company that would probably purchase it, like you licensing it? Was that something that you thought about too, licensing your product to a company that already exists?
Right. I mean, I did think about it because during that phase of trying to figure out everything, I did what anybody else would do. I Googled so many things, and, I don't know if anyone ever remember. I'm actually friends with the guy now who's the founder, Inventor. Yeah. And it was Mr. Key. Yeah. And I'd reach out. It was like, okay, I don't have the money to make this. I don't have the thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars it's going to take to manufacture. Let me just go ahead and license it or, let somebody else handle it. I just want to get it out there. And so I did go through those, but it's, I rely on my gut feeling. My gut feeling, something just said, no, that's not what the route that you need to take with this. You need to learn. You don't know about this now, but you have the tools. There's incubators and conferences, cohorts, places where you can get the information that you need to mass produce this product. To even get the final look of the product. So I just set out to do what people thought was the unachievable. Yeah, on my own. Yeah, doing it by myself. Just me, myself, and I in the beginning. And and I'm glad I did take that route because I talked to Mr. Key now, and it's funny. He told me, he said, I saw your email those many years ago when you emailed me, and I am so. Let me apologize to you right now for not responding. I am so sorry. But it's like you are when you're growing, you're on different levels, right? And you're a small fish in a very, very big pond of your new brand, and no one knows who you are. A lot of people really don't care. Yeah, this is a life-saving, award-winning product today, but in the very beginning, no one cares what you're selling or what you're putting out there unless it's specific to them, and no one really knew. And so now as we were growing, we've grown, more people know, because I'm putting this brand out there, and I'm vocal. I'm very vocal with it. And that's why it's like, I'm no longer a procrastinator. I'm no longer an introvert, in a sense, because I can't afford to be anymore. This has to be out there, not just here in the States, but all over the world.
I love that, Felicia. I want to say that you talked about, sending emails and not getting a response. And I feel like, a lot of people, because you're probably not making the profit, they don't see the green yet. They don't see the numbers yet. So they're like, not yet, not interested. But while they're still looking for you to make profit, you were still pursuing it because you knew bigger than the money, there was a purpose for having that, because there's a mom, there's a parent, there's someone out there who's going to panic just like I did. And if they had this tool, someone's life will be saved, right? So you were never influenced by, oh, I'm not making enough. I'm not. You were influenced by the fact that it was a needed product that would save lives. business. And I think that's important that people who are listening to this, people are not going to see you until they see the money. Unfortunately, that's the reality. You understand that too. And you continue to show up. And if you could talk about a little bit about TikTok and how that has, and also I know there's a ban with TikTok right now. So Felicia is one of those people who has benefited significantly from TikTok's influence and platform. So can you talk to us about what happened there for you and how did that, help your business grow?
Yes, I would love to. It was during the time where, I was trying to figure out, who's my target market, who is going to benefit. I knew who benefit from it, but what's the best channel of distribution? Should I get CPR Wrap out? Because some of these channels take capital. This capital I don't have, I'm bootstrapping, and what little money I raised, that's gone. I want to close my doors. And a lot of the companies and friends that I, built my company around, alongside, they're closing. And it's like, I can't, this is not CPR Wrap's journey. And what I did was I made a post, on TikTok. My daughter was a TikTok, just doing her thing, have thousands of followers. And she was just, Mom, you need to put your product on CPR Wrap, on TikTok. Like, they don't want to see this. They want to see people dance. They want to know what the next recipe is. Want to see this. And I did. And it was crazy. My hair it looked like I just rolled out of the bed. It was awful. I had a CPR Wrap template draped over my shoulder. Whole story. I told them why I invented it, told them what happened with my son, and was holding it up, and they went crazy.
Yes.
But I made that video, and that video I made, it was in 2023. And I was done. I told my husband was saying, babe, what's happening? I need help. What to do? And I couldn't shoot myself. I had just let my employees go. And I said, I don't know. Give me a couple of more months. Figure this out. And that's when I posted the video. And that 20 views, when I last checked, was 900,000. And then that 900,000 views turned to over 11 million views. Matter of 2 days. 2 days.
Yeah.
We had amassed over close to $600,000 in sales. Wow. When I tell you, I was elated. It was like, oh my God. First, I was terrified because it was like, the dollar signs, it was going myself and another person who, my daughter, she works for me. And it was like, it was just us. We were the fulfillment. That was it. And we had to ship out over 10,000 kits. And it was crazy. We didn't get any help. We worked around the clock to get them out. And that day it was life changing. And it was like, okay, if this could happen to me, this is another sign that I need to keep going. There's going to be barriers. It's going to be, and I don't care how much money you make. I don't care if you go viral every day. There's going to be barriers because now you're on a different level now. Now people are seeing it. I had the producer of the Jennifer Hudson show saw the video, and he called me at 10 o'clock that night. I guess he was in California. I don't know where he was, but he called me that night and said, I just watched your video. I love your product. I love you. I'm going to pitch you to the Jennifer Hudson show. But I think that was around the time, there was other big things going on. I never did make it to the show. But that was, to have all these other people. And I know a lot of celebrities that have purchased and that have reached out to me. And it was like, we saw this video. We saw this on TikTok. And it was very life changing. And it's, I'm lost for words.
Yeah. And I love what you said because you was like, oh my God, you was just so shocked. It was like these numbers are coming in because you probably didn't expect it. You didn't expect it. But I think that's what's important about being on this journey is to expect the unexpected, right? Because you just never know when things can totally change for you, Yeah. So I want to talk to you about the Amazon, right? You won the Amazon show, right? You won. And I want to talk because when I saw I was so happy because I did get a call from them and I went through the whole thing with them, but I never got a call back. But when I saw you, it was like I saw myself. I was like, that was beautiful because you're so close to me. And I felt like if it can happen for someone within my circle, it's close enough, right? And because I feel like as you're going through this journey, people don't know what it takes to really do this and to show up the way you show up. It takes a lot. You really have to be grounded in something, like I said, bigger than the money. And clearly you are grounded in something bigger than just making money. But when I saw you, I saw your story as a woman, as a mom, as a Black woman, and as a person who didn't have enough. You just, like you said, you bootstrapped your way through all of this. And how many other people are saying, no, I can't do this because I'm a woman and I'm a mom and I'm this. But here you are with the same elements. And here you are today on the show, like Bite Live, was it Bite Now? Bite Now with Amazon. And you were also on another show, another contest.
Yeah, with Pharrell Williams, Black women in New York.
In New York.
Yeah.
All these different opportunities, and you started with zero.
Zilch. I did. Yeah. It was crazy because I tell people, I was in a phase of yes, everything, because it was like I was a fear of missing out. I have this new brand. I want everybody to know that it exists. So any opportunity that came my way, I always said yes to it, even if I knew that I should not have. Now I'm a little bit more, I have take discernment. It's like you can't do everything, Felicia, and no, you shouldn't do that. That's not in your best interest. But during the time, it was like I have to be a part of this. I don't have the millions of dollars for mass marketing or branding to get my product out globally. What are other ways that I can get it out there to let people know that we exist? And the process is hard. It was hard getting on that show, and I found out, the Amazon Prime's Buy It Now, that a lot of the contestants were asked. Like you said, you were asked. They asked you. These companies were either on Shark Tank already, or they saw them somewhere and they reached out. No one reached out to me. I was given the link from a friend of mine. It's like, Felicia, just do this, just apply for it. I do as I'm told, and it was like, and I applied. And whenever I do stuff like that, I don't expect it to get called back. I don't expect to win. It's like I did it. It's out there because I know what's meant for you is meant for you. Because I've pitched, I'm telling you, I pitched my heart out. Applied to some things. It's like, we got this, and didn't get it.
Yeah.
And I get upset, and it was like, oh, we need this money or we need this exposure, but it was not for me. That wasn't for me. There's something else comes along and we blow it out of the water. And it was like, this is what I was being prepared for.
Yes. I love what you just said because, a lot of times you're right. You need the funding. You need to do this next thing in your business, and you need the money to make it happen. I think that a lot of people understand that money is probably the biggest roadblock for entrepreneurs and inventors like yourself. And sometimes when you get that opportunity where you're going to get that money, you already have all the ideas and all the plans of what you're going to do with that money, and you don't get it. And so, but what you just said just now is that every opportunity was preparing you for the opportunity that was for you. And that is so important. I don't think enough people talk about, the losses are not really losses. They're preparations. Right? They're preparing you not only for the opportunity, but for the person that you have to be in that opportunity. Because you think about the first time you started this whole thing in the beginning and the person that you are today, totally different.
Totally.
And you probably saying to yourself too, like, if this opportunity came to me earlier, would I have been prepared for it?
No, I can tell you emphatically, no, I would not have been. No.
So talk to us about that. Talk to us about those losses and how they're really preparations for your moment.
Right. So, they takes me back to, I hate to watch myself pitch for one, and hate anything like watching myself on television, but I saw my very first pitch. I have it. It's crazy. And I look at myself and it's like, I could see the fear. It was palpable, because I was sure of what I had, but, it's not always product that you have or the service that you have. It's you too.
Yes.
People are looking you. The people are invested in you, and if they see that you're unsure, they see that you're just terrified, they're not going to have faith.
Yeah.
And it's about storytelling. And like when I tell my story, and every time I tell my story about my son, every time I tell my story about the journey, it's like out of body experience. I take myself back because those feelings and everything is so raw.
Yeah.
And when I tell that story, I know how it affects me. I want it to affect people that I'm talking to just as equally as much. So, and so they get it and they understand. And so that, prepares you, for anything that you have coming down the pipeline, because, every pitch that I do, even the pitches to partnerships, every meeting that I go into, it's all about telling a story, and preparing that person to go down that journey with you because they understand. And it's like, okay, I get it. And I see how this can affect me. I see how this can affect my clients, my customers. I wanna be part of what she's doing. I want to be part of what she's talking about or the solution that she has. And that was a learning experience. I had to literally grow those no's that I experienced. It was like it was a fire under me. And just like when you were saying, like when you saw me on Amazon Prime's Buy It Now, and you felt it was that proud moment. I have people that I follow, and it's like, okay, when they post stuff and I see it's like, oh, they're freaking doing it. And it's like, and I know how hard they had. And it's like, I know if they can do it, I know I can do it.
That's right. And this could have been an opportunity. Hey, solve the problem. What did you say? Can you tell us what happened in that situation?
I did. That was the very infancy of CPR Wrap. It was called the CPR Life Wrap at the time, companies. And a group, now I know it was a group of doctors, reached out to me. And it was a concept. I didn't even have the prototype done. I had the drawing on paper, and I was going through, building the company from the very beginning stages. And that was, I had 100% ownership because it was just me. And they took me out to dinner. Oh, I remember that. Took me out to dinner, and they started, and it didn't start out at 1.2 million. It worked its way up. I mean, they were throwing numbers. And every time I said no, okay, how about 500,000? No, that's not enough. Okay, 900,000. And I kept saying no and no and no. And then they said 1.2 million. And it was like, you gotta be kidding me. Really? And it was like, I didn't know what to do. Because during that time, I had quit my job. I quit my job, didn't tell my husband. And I tell people, don't do that. Don't do as I didn't tell my husband, quit my job. And it was like, we went from 2 incomes. And during that time, I was a physical therapist assistant making really good money. And we were losing everything. We'd almost lost the house. And it was like, man, this is my fault. I don't know how long this is going to take to build this business. These people are offering me $1.2 million, which is life changing. I never seen that much money all at once. And yes, they did bring a checkbook and tried to step me with that. And it's like, who does that? So I excused myself. I did the little church lady, fingers up. I have to go to the restroom. I'll be right back. And I went to the restroom, and I called 2 mentors that I trusted more than anyone in this world when it came to my business. And I told them what was happening in real time. This is what's going down. They have the money here. You all know what I'm going through. I don't know what to do. And, they both equally told me, and this is 2 separate phone calls. They both had the same advice. We're not telling you not to take this money. We're not telling you to take it. We're just asking you to remember your why. Remember your purpose.
Yes.
Why did you start this company? Because they was going to give me $1.2 million for 80% of my company. They wanted me to stay on as the CEO, to run it, but I would not own it of 20%. And plus, I'm thinking, man, I haven't even built this yet. I have other ideas in my head too that's going to complement this product, but it's not going to be mine. So like, yeah, okay, I get it. Did I call my husband? Nope, I didn't call my husband because I don't know what he would have said, and maybe if I did, he would have told me, babe, take the money, and I probably taken it. But I back to that table, and I turned him down. I said, I'm not ready to sell yet.
Wow.
It's like if they came then, they'll around.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And that is so important because, the pressure of, thinking that you have this business and, all the money that you put in is going to come right back to you. It takes time. Tell us how long you've been on this journey.
I have been on this journey. I established my company as an LLC in 2017, and I became a corporation in 2019. So I've just, I started selling 2018 to people with the product. Yeah, but I first started everything in 2017, my pitches, and everything. So yeah, it's been your journey. Yeah.
And I feel like everything goes right back to your purpose because, like I said, if you were driven by anything other than that, we probably wouldn't have this conversation. Those opportunities just has come to you last year would not have came to you. And more important than that is the story that you're telling right now that someone is going to listen to and say, wow, this woman has inspired me. I have an idea in my head. It's time for me to get started. And knowing that it's not going to happen overnight, but showing up, consistently showing up is what's going to show you where things can go because you never know who you're going to meet. You never know with the, social media, all these different ways to connect with people. You never know, but you got to show up. Yeah. Felicia, I'm not going to hold you any longer because I know you have other things to do, but I do want you to tell me one thing or tell us one thing, that mom right now who's listening to you and saying, man, I have an idea. She's had an idea and she's like, you know what? I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should do it. Can you say something that will encourage her to take that first step?
Yes. I guess I would tell you to start with your passion, of course, and keep it going. There's going to be many barriers that's going to try to stop you, but always remember your why. Don't always strive fetching because it's not going to happen in the very beginning. It's the progress that matters. You'll eventually get there, and build your network. There's many times where I wanted to stop. I would have stopped if it wasn't for the people that I already had around me, just to keep me going and let me know that, it's going to be okay. Oh, and those mentors and friends did it. So, develop your community early on, team you, and no matter what happens, you always have someone that's going to be behind you and not looking for anything in return. They just want.
That's right. And I just want you to say something about how has your journey, shaped your children? Because I think they've seen you doing this since they were like younger. Now they're older, right? But is there something that it's because of this journey that you've been on that has really shaped them in ways that probably even school or all these different things that we go after would not have done as a mom? What has your journey as a mompreneur done to your children's life?
Right. So it has really shaped their character because I'm a direct, like, they're visualizing what I'm doing. They've seen the hardships. The people on the outside, they see a lot of the successes, but my family and my children have seen it all.
Yeah.
And it builds character, it builds strength.
Yes.
My middle daughter, my middle child, she actually went back to college to get her degree in entrepreneurship and business management.
Oh,
Yes. And so, it's about legacy.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing this. I really appreciate your time. I'm not going to hold you any longer, but I just wanted to say thank you. I continue to watch you and be inspired by you, and I know so many other people are.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Take care.